The following tutorial will be day 1, step 3. We will be creating a third-person camera view that we are going to be using, which will allow us to have an above-head camera shot of him. This is a very basic third-person camera. Will not have a whole lot of functionality to it, and if later we decide that we need to add more functionality, we can do that then, and if we feel like it's doing its job, then we won't worry about it. So right now what we'll do is we first need to create a dot camera class, or a camera class basically that will extend from camera. So we will call this one dot camera, and inside of that we will just start off by placing class dot camera extends camera, and go ahead and save that, and make sure you do save it as a .uc file. Once that is finished, we will go into dplayer controller and go down to default properties, and into that we will add a camera class. So it'll be camera class equals class apostrophe dots dots camera, or I'm sorry, dot camera and apostrophe. Just make sure that your class name matches your file name, which matches of course the class name in the file. Now we can go back to our dot camera, and we need to add two variables. We need to add a vector variable and a rotator variable. Vector variable will be dot camera lock offset, and our variable for rotator will be a dot camera rot offset. The vector variable will actually push the camera away from our pawn to give it a third-person view, and the rotator offset will give us kind of a slanted view from above, so that we can have at least somewhat an idea of what's in front of him. Now we can make adjustments to this later as we move along in the game if we feel like it's needed. And the only thing we need to really do is we just need to overload the function update view target. So you can go. So once you add the function update view target, and you have the out t view target, out vt, and float delta time, then go ahead and add another vector and another rotator that will just be temporarily used while we while we add changes to the camera. Now I start off by doing if PC owner is not equal to none. Now this may not actually need to be needed, but just in case, so we don't cause any problems that could occur for the use of the AI, I'm going to just make sure that as long as it's not a player character owner that will be using, or only a player character owner will be using this rather, and if it's not the player character, then it will go back to the default stuff back in camera. So we'll do an if PC owner is not equal to none. Now once inside the bracer, we have a dot lock, which is the first vector we created, will equal out vt dot target dot location, which is the out vt is the actual target of the camera. So we're basically pointing this to the location of the target, and the rotation, which would be the rotation of the target. Then we will add a dot lock, and then we'll do plus equals, because we'll be adding to that the camera offset, and along with that we will be creating adding to that the dot rotation. These double greater than signs basically place the local view into a world view, and then it adds it into the offset. So what this actually does is it really allows the camera to follow behind the target. If we didn't do this, when you turned your camera, the character would actually turn, but your camera would kind of turn away from your character. So you wouldn't even see your character if you turned enough. OutVT.POV.location equals dot lock, and OutVT.POV.rotation equals dot rot, and then we'll add the offset to that. And what that actually does is that will set the camera to our location and our rotation that we want. And like I said before, if it is not the PC owner, it will revert back to camera for everything else. And that is pretty much all we need to do at this point. Once you have that all done, you can save it, and we'll go back into front end. We'll go ahead and click make. Once that's finished compiling, we can go back to our little exe file and run that. And also you'll notice in this, the test map, you may have noticed, was a little different before, and as I go through these tutorials, I'm kind of making the test map a little bit better, and as you can see, it's a little bit more viewable now. It's not so hard to see. And we can run around the little map, and as you can see, the camera follows him. You can see him from a distance, and we kind of have a little bit of above view going down on him, so we can see what's going on. I will say that the camera does not have collision at this point, something you might notice. You can actually turn into the wall, but that's something we can worry about adding later. Just remember that these are tutorials that are supposed to show you how to get started on things. They may even teach you how to do something entirely, but for the most part, they're just there to teach you exactly what does what. We can actually see through the wall there, but we can always add a camera collision later on when we actually need it, if for like the end game. Otherwise, that should do it for this tutorial. We'll move on to day 2 next.